I have over 50 Robux in my account. I have over 200 Robux in my Roblox group, not to mention how much my group and avatar are worth. And yet, I have never spent a penny on Roblox. And the best part is, I'm about to tell you exactly how I did it. Hey friends, this is Fern. I think that the number one question people ask on Roblox is how to get free Robux. There are people everywhere begging for Robux wherever they can. But if this is you, you should not give up. You can get free Robux. You're just going about it the wrong way. In this video, I'm going to tell you how to go about it the right way. There are 3 ways to get Robux. One is buying them, the second is working for them, and the third is as a gift or donation. This video is mostly devoted to the second way, which is working for Robux. But if you stay tuned till the end, I'll talk a bit about gifts and donations. So, without further ado, let's get into it. It might sound surprising, but there are a lot of different jobs you can do to make Robux. Some of the most popular jobs are clothes designing, developing, and GFX creation. But there are many others, like advertising or house design in games like Adopt Me or Bloxburg. Take some time to think about what kind of job you could be good at. If you're good at drawing, you might be a good clothing designer. If you're good at building in Roblox Studio, you could be good at developing experiences. If you're good at 3D design, you could make GFXs for group logos. Once you decide which trade you want to learn, look up YouTube tutorials on it. If you take time to learn about your trade, you will be able to avoid rookie mistakes. For example, a lot of beginning designers make their first design with the template as part of their clothing because they don't know they have to remove it. If you watch a few tutorials on YouTube, you will be able to avoid mistakes like this. This goes for all types of trades. After you watch some YouTube videos, take some time practicing. For example, if you want to be a GFX icon designer, practice making some icons using your own avatar. Practicing will give you experience before you even start looking for a job. Your GFXs will be of much higher quality because you did this, and they will be worth more. After you are satisfied with your skill level, it's time to start looking for an employer. To do this, join as many advertisement groups as you can. Look through the advertisements on these groups as often as possible to see if anyone is hiring. You can also make your own advertisement. For example, this is my advertisement. Looking for a designer? Hi, you found me. I've been designing off and on for a year now and am currently out of a job. I only cost 15 Robux per clothing and am willing to negotiate on this pay. I am used to designing softy and preppy clothes, but am willing to learn any style. If you would like to hire me, please send me a friend request. Thank you so much for considering me as your new designer. Have an amazing day. When making an advertisement, feel free to play with fonts and emojis if you want it to stand out. This isn't required though. As long as you explain what you want to be hired for and tell your reader how they can contact you, your advertisement is complete. Now, you probably noticed that I put my price in the advertisement. That's because I know how much I want to be paid beforehand. This is very important. For example, once I was hired as a designer for a group. I posted a piece of clothing which cost me 10 Robux, and I never got paid. Why? Because I never asked. How was the owner supposed to know I wanted to be paid if I never told them? Prices obviously vary based on your trade. For clothes designing, it's important to keep in mind that it costs 10 Robux to post a clothing. So if you want to make money, you have to get paid a little more than 10 per clothing. Also, paying you over 10 Robux for every piece of clothing you make quickly adds up to the person paying you. I price myself at about 15 Robux per clothing because it's not that much more than 10, but I am still making Robux. You have to remember that your employer has a limited amount of Robux, so you want to be as cheap as possible, especially if you're a designer. If you have a different trade, you're pretty lucky. It doesn't cost any Robux to post an experience or add a group icon. For you, I would say that you should base your price on how long you expect the project to take you. For example, making a clothing design takes me a couple hours to a day, and I get paid a net of 5 Robux per clothing. But when I made home stores, they took me a couple weeks to a month, and I expected around 100 Robux for them. If your project takes you multiple months, you could price it at around 200. Remember to keep your price as low as you're willing. If your prices are too high, people will not be able to afford you. And if you're just starting out, you're not worth that much anyway. If you have a different trade, base it on how much time your project takes you. If you do something like advertising, you could ask for 5 Robux a month. That's not very much, but you're not doing anything more than copying and pasting. For a lot of the smaller trades I haven't mentioned, it really all depends on how much your employer is willing to pay you. If you get 10 Robux designing someone's Adopt Me house, that's a lot, especially since it costs them Adopt Me money too. It's all based on how much your employer thinks your trade is worth. I've told you how to advertise. I've told you how to decide your price. Now I'm going to explain what you do once you finally find an employer. So, finding an employer can take a long time, but it doesn't normally. Eventually, someone will contact you either by replying to a message you left on their group or by sending you a friend request. After that happens, they will want to talk to you. I hire designers in my group, and I have been scammed so many times. Once I gave someone 10 Robux so they could post clothing on my group, and they told me that they accidentally posted it on their group. They left my group and unfriended me a week later without saying anything. This kind of thing happens to group owners a lot with any trade, so be prepared to be questioned. They may want to see previous work. This is one reason why you should practice. It will be easy to share your practice work unless you're a designer. If this is the case, and you didn't have any Robux to post the clothes you made before, you don't have any previous work. If this is you and your owner asks you for previous work, tell them the truth. There is no reason to lie. Offer to post your first clothing for only 10 Robux so you have a chance to prove you're legit. This should solve any problems you have. Remember that price you set earlier? Well, now it's negotiation time. Once your new employer decides that they trust you enough to hire you, the question of price comes up. They may ask you how much you want, and if they don't, make sure to tell them. If they are anything like me or many of my previous employers, they probably have very limited Robux and will want to pay you as little as they can. Be willing to lower your price so that they can afford it, but try to keep it as high as you can. For example, I wanted to be paid 100 Robux for the second home store I made, but since the owner couldn't afford it, I was willing to be paid only 80. It may look like I lost 20 Robux, but that's not what happened. I gained 80, because it was probably 80 or nothing. If it's a choice between losing your high price or losing your employer, you should choose to lose the price. You're a beginner after all. After you and your employer negotiate a price, it's time to start working. If you have a long project like an experience or a GFX, give your employer an estimated time that you know you can make. And no matter what your trade is, finish as fast as possible. I once gave someone Robux to make clothing on my group, but she never did. I don't know if I was scammed or if she legitimately forgot, but either way, I'm never hiring her again. Remember that as a beginner, you have to prove yourself. After your project is finished, post it or share it with the owner. I found that even if you do a mediocre job, they are still somehow happy with the result. If you had a more expensive project, it might take the owner a while to pay you. This happened to me a few times. The best thing to do is to stay in the group so they can pay you when they're able. Make sure to remind them if a month or so passes. Maybe they just forgot. But congratulations, you finished your first job. Now, sad as it is, there are a lot of scammers out there. I might make a video later about how to avoid scammers, but for the sake of this video, I will just say this. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. I was almost scammed by a girl who offered 100 Robux for clothing. That is an insane amount. No one who isn't trying to trick you would offer you that much. She hired people as designers, and as soon as these designers posted something, she deranked them and sometimes even kicked them out of the group. Stay away from people like that. Now, your first paycheck will probably be pretty small. You can either keep working for the same group or find another employer. In fact, you can do both. If you have time to have multiple jobs at once, go for it. As you keep working, you will continue to earn not only Robux, but experience. And if you set things up right, eventually your Robux will work for you. What do I mean? Well, if this video gets enough likes, I'll make another one about how to become an employer. So make sure to click that like button if you haven't already. I promised you at the beginning of this video that I would talk about donations, so here we are. I'm not going to lie to you, I got most of my Robux through donations. At one point, some random person I didn't know donated over 1,000 Robux to my group for almost no reason. He said he wasn't going to use them and wanted to get rid of them. But this doesn't happen to most people. I actually have no clue why it happened to me. The trick is not to expect donations. I have never once asked for a donation. When I post new clothes on the group, I announce it so they know, and I have a special rank for people who buy clothes or donate, but I have never directly asked. I don't know about you, but when I see people begging for a donation, I don't want to give it to them. In my opinion, it is most helpful if you make a donation visible, but don't shove it in people's faces. For example, I have 3 donation t-shirts on my group. I have a small, medium, and large donation. Sometimes people just buy them. I don't even know most of the people that do. I don't advertise them or shout about them, I just have them. You may not have a group, but you can create a t-shirt on your profile. It might be a little harder to find, so you might mention it in your description. Just don't do it in a beggy way. T-shirts cost you 10 Robux to post publicly, so you have to have that. As for the t-shirt, I honestly just search a cool Google image. Nobody's gonna wear it anyway, although it might be more appealing if it looks cute. You can get donations other ways, of course. I've never played Please Donate, but I hear that you can actually get a few Robux from it. I've heard of friends donating for birthdays and other reasons as well. But please, don't ever use your friends for Robux. It hurts a lot. Robux probably cost them real money, and they deserve a real friendship in return. So to conclude, donation is unreliable and random. You should not expect it as a main source of income. However, if you're too lazy to work and you have a lot of patience, you could probably scrape together enough Robux to buy you some nice clothes. So, we just covered a lot of stuff. I'm going to quickly summarize it so it will make more sense. There are 3 ways to get Robux: buying them, working for them, or as a gift or donation. There are multiple steps to working for them. Find your trade, watch YouTube tutorials of your trade, practice. Find an employer by advertising or reading advertisements. Decide on a negotiable price. Once you find an employer, do your best work for them. Either stick with that employer, find another, or both. As for donations, do not beg. Make it an option, and be a real friend. And that's it. It really is that simple. It might take a lot of time, but in the long run, you will find great rewards. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I have literally never spent a penny on Roblox, and look where I ended up. It's possible for you too, and I hope that this video helps you believe it. If you have any further questions or video recommendations, please put them in the comments. I'm here to answer them. So yeah, I think that's it for today's video. Don't forget to check out my other videos. I made one on how to grow your group, which will be useful if you buy your own group with those free Robux. You should check it out.